welcome to our Crafting Wellness podcast. And on behalf of MDF Instruments, I would love to introduce you today to Charlotte. Hi, Charlotte. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing very well. I'm so excited to have you on our podcast. And I would love for everyone watching who doesn't know you to kind of, if you could just give us a little introduction and tell us your story.
Yes, absolutely. Well, first and foremost, thank you so much for having me and allowing me to just share my story during this really important month of breast cancer awareness. So, a little bit about me. My name is Charlotte Martin. I'm 32 years old. I lived a very healthy, normal life up until my diagnosis a few years ago. I grew up just outside of London with my mom and my three brothers, and I moved to the US when I was about 18 years old. I never imagined that a couple years after moving here that I would be the daughter of a breast cancer survivor, and then just a few years after that, I myself would then be a survivor. So it certainly took me by shock a little bit. It was October 2018 when I was diagnosed. I was 31 years old and living in Marina del Rey, and I was getting ready to jump in the shower, and I kind of just grazed across my chest, and then that's when I found the mass on my right side. And at first glance, it was kind of unassuming. I didn't really think too much of it. I was a little concerned just because I come from family history of breast cancer, but like I said, it was kind of unassuming, and I started to sort of press around, and that's when I noticed that there was like two distinct lumps, like a small pea size and then a small mass. So a little scary to say the least. I did some Googling, as I think most people probably would in my situation. I think that's the first thing most people do these days. And as you can imagine, like most of the symptoms that I had, from feeling the lump to the dimpling, it just, something didn't seem right, and the results didn't look so great. So I guess you could say from that point on, like 0 to 60 seconds, it was like I ended up in non-stop appointments for the better part of like 2 weeks. And then on October 6th is when I received my diagnosis from my radiologist that it was stage 1 HER2 breast cancer. And I was pretty floored. It was quite a shock. I think I did some research on it, and getting breast cancer at my age with the type of it was like a 1 in 10,000. So needless to say, I was pretty scared for my life. I kind of felt blindsided in a way. Like I was in disbelief. I didn't really think that this could happen to me. Since over the years, I'd requested mammograms, and I was actually declined mammograms up until my diagnosis because I was too young and healthy. So it was a little disappointing because, I tried to kind of take those steps to prevent, or take the steps to sort of, be my own advocate and get a mammogram done ahead of time. But unfortunately, that didn't work out. So my journey began that day, and I would say probably just a year and a half later, I'd gone through 50 doctor's visits, 5 surgeries, 6 months of chemotherapy, IVF, hair loss, weight gain, you name it. I kind of had to do the whole thing. And I think one of the hardest parts was just kind of coming to terms with the, just re-identifying with myself, like kind of finding myself again. I think as a woman, when you lose your hair and you put on weight, you really just, you don't know who you are, and you have to kind of like find yourself again. So it was a tough couple years, and I've just, since then, I've really tried my best to share my story, the good and the bad. I think there's some really genuine and raw and real about just being honest about all the different steps that you're going through. And I know that it's helped a lot of women just be more of like an advocate for themselves. I still have girlfriends that I have to remind every month, like, do your self-breast exams. And, I think it was a real shock for my friends, just because I guess you could say I was like the vision of health. Like, I worked worked out, I ate healthy, nothing was wrong with me, and then all of a sudden it's like, boom, you get diagnosed with breast cancer. And it just took so many people back that I think it just shocked them into, wow, like I really should start doing my self breast exams. And that was another lesson for me, was just the lack of education for women under 40. I think there's so much information out there about doing self breast exams sort of after 40 and doing your mammograms after 40. When the truth is, so many younger women are getting diagnosed kind of before 40. So I think we just need to have the conversation a little bit more. But my entire life has completely changed. I was in medical sales, and then I got diagnosed and I received a wee care package, which was such a lovely gift. I reached out to a dear friend of mine called Erin Monroe, who at the time I had known her from Colorado, and I knew that she was also a breast cancer survivor, and she was involved in the breast cancer fundraiser, and she sent me a care package. And I'm not even kidding, I had like probably $500 worth of items in my Amazon cart, because I had no idea what I was going to need. So when this care package arrived, it just was so heartwarming, because there was a beanie in there was a blanket and a journal. She wrote the most beautiful note just saying, like, you've been there for your mom, like we are going to be there for you now. And that just made me like bawl. I lost it for like an hour, just because, just to know that you have people there to support you is, there's no words for it, really. And then, just little things like tissues or face wipes. And I also received an MDF instrument. And at the time I was like, what is this for? Like, why do I need a stethoscope for? And then towards the end of my treatment, I was like, I need to get my nurse a gift. And I was like, hold on, they wear them. So I gifted my nurse the MDF instrument, and she was just so taken back and so grateful, because it's the one with a little bow on it. And she was so happy, and it was like the rose gold, pretty, and yeah, I mean, this package was just everything that I needed that I didn't know I needed. The founder of the Breast Cancer Fundraiser, I was like, listen, I want to host an event. Like, I love what you guys are doing. You're really like, there's nothing else out there. Like, I want to raise money for the foundation. So I hosted my first event, and I raised nearly $15,000 for the Breast Cancer Fundraiser on my first event. And there was just so much great energy. I had all my friends, my community, supporters from the Breast Cancer Fundraiser there. And a couple of months later, Nilo was like, Charlotte, like, would you like to get involved? Like, we love what you're doing. We love your energy. And that's kind of what led me to, now I call it like my new chapter, my new life, because I really have taken like a 360 on what I was doing before and now what I'm doing. And in a weird way, like, I kind of look at it as, this is my purpose. Like, this is maybe what I was supposed to be doing, because the impact of women and men just sharing, their stories. And it's a good feeling. So now I'm the director of giving at the Breast Cancer Fundraiser, and our mission at the Breast Cancer Fundraiser is to preserve the dignity of breast cancer patients and their loved ones, and that's exactly what we do. I have felt it. I've been the recipient of a We Care package, and I'm so grateful for this partnership, because just seeing the impact that it had, like feeling it, and then also continuing to give it back, it's a good feeling. Mm-hmm. It's like full circle. We just delivered like 50 packages the other day to UCLA, and I was just floored, because last year I was a patient there, like having treatment, and now I'm going back and providing these women with comfort.
It's so beautiful. I feel like the more I talk to people Because we've been talking to a lot of healthcare workers, nurses, doctors, students. Um, it's really interesting when I hear their story about how they got into healthcare or like why they did, and it's always interconnected with someone helped their grandfather, or they themselves had a health issue and got really sick and appreciated the care that they received from a nurse, and then that inspired them to want to do something great. And I just think it really shows how powerful love and kindness is, because it's one of those things when you feel loved and cared for, when you feel those feelings from sometimes even strangers, it's so powerful that it ignites something in you that makes you say, oh my gosh, I want to make someone else feel this feeling, because I was so scared and alone and afraid, and now I feel so much better, and I want to pass that along to someone else and make them feel like they're not alone, and make them feel like someone cares and loves them and is there for them. And I just think it's really, really beautiful. And your story just really highlights just how powerful kindness and love can be, and giving time, or giving
Yeah.
products, little things that, people don't have to do. It doesn't have to always be this monumental thing. I think that's something
Right.
really important for people to remember, that it's sometimes little things, having a journal, having tissue, but having someone give
Yeah.
that to you in a way that says, hey, I know you're going to need this. You have enough going on, like the fight of your life, and I want to make this as easy for you as I can. And just that sentiment there, it really can ignite so much power in bringing out the best in people, and people wanting to really kind of domino effect that into other parts of life.
I think, I agree. And in each care package, I actually handwrite every note that goes into them. So when somebody is requesting a We Care package for their loved one, a friend, a girlfriend, I handwrite the message that they have chosen to send to their loved one, and it's really heartwarming, and it feels so good on my end too, because I always like to kind of add a little something in the end from me, just to say, this is coming from a warrior, this is coming from the breast cancer fundraiser, and then the note from their loved one. And I know that when I received the package, one of the loveliest parts about it was the handwritten notes from Erin Monroe. It just was so heartwarming. And I think it's that personal touch that really makes the We Care package unique to the patient that's receiving it.
Absolutely. And I think just to go off that a little bit, sometimes when you're starting a journey, and then someone who's been through that journey, through a similar journey as you, and they're a little further down the line, they're on the other side of it, to receive a message from them, it's kind of in a weird way, like if you could give a note to your like 5-year-old self, and like tell yourself something like everything's going to be okay. It's kind of
Yeah.
that guidance, that this is kind of shooting back to them and saying, listen, I'm further down along the journey, I've been where you've been, I've been exactly where you are, and I'm on the other side now, able to send you a message, and one day you'll be able to be on the other side with me sending a message
Yeah.
back over. It's a really, really beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing.
So many people that go through like a cancer diagnosis that don't have that resource, and that is my goal long term wise, is to try and figure out a way of giving back to all cancer patients in some way, of delivering them a care package. Because I some people's journeys, by no means are they ever easy. Some are very quick, they get their treatment, it's resolved, and others are essentially going through the treatment for the rest of their life. So to just have that little bit of comfort in like those first couple weeks after a diagnosis, or the first month after a diagnosis, is it's really great. And I think this month, during Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we've really tried very hard to like kind of cultivate the bag and make sure that everything in there is exactly what they're going to need. And it comes from like a first-hand experience, just little things like we have pill organizers. And, I had that in my Amazon purchase list because you have so many different medications. And, if you're not organized with it, it can be very, very overwhelming. You're going to miss the day of the week, or there's going to be kind of pills scattered everywhere. So the package is really well put together, and I'm grateful that I've been given this opportunity in life to like give back. And like you said, just showing a little bit of love and time. Like I I think you're right when you say like you can give in so many different ways. It doesn't always have to be. I think there's a misconception about giving. I think a lot of people just think you have to give money to charities, when really that's actually not the case. Just giving your time, or giving a platform, giving an opportunity to speak about something you're passionate about, sharing what, if you're following a foundation and you believe in it, sharing that and educating people about what they're doing, like that is giving. And that's probably one of our biggest gifts, is when either we have a patient that shares their journey of receiving a package, or starts a fundraiser with 30 of their friends. There's so many different ways to give.
Yeah, I love that, because I was just going to ask for everyone watching, for the BCF, if they wanted to donate or give, what would be the best way for them to get involved. And I definitely want to link your website and your Instagram and everything in this video so everyone can go check the BCF out. Do you have any advice
Yeah,
on how they can help? I would love to hear it.
absolutely. So we have, on our website, there is a giving section. So the care package itself is $250. And that covers 5 categories of care. So we care about your beauty, we care about your health and wellness, we care about your comfort, we care about your loved ones, and we care about your journey. So within that package, there's those 5 categories. And there's so many different things in there. So, there's the link on the website where you can give or sponsor a wee care package for someone that's going through treatment. And then something else that's really fun, we have a 30 by 30 fundraiser that you can host. It's so easy, and it's just simply inviting 30 close friends to donate $30 for 30 days. So it would be $30 per person for the month. Super easy. We kind of work it out as like $1 a day. So you can do a 30 by 30. It's so simple. And that actually, between 30 friends, you can send a couple WeCare packages, which is really amazing. So that's another way too. So there's a couple different options, and they're all listed on the website. But the main two are, there is a giving page, and then I would recommend the 30 by 30 fundraiser. That's a fun one.
Yeah, and that's great for all the students watching as well, because you can,
Yeah,
there's power in numbers. They say that for a reason, because maybe you
yeah,
don't have a lot of money to give. Maybe you can't afford $250 by yourself. But if you get
yeah,
a bunch of friends together and everybody gives a little bit, before you know it, you are able to help a lot of people.
yeah,
Also, you can always share the BCF, post them in your stories, and just share the information, because a lot of people can't get the help, or they can't donate if they don't know that it's there. And so I think it's really important too that sharing all about the BCF and their page and their Instagram and their Facebook will be very helpful too.
yeah. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Brooke. And you're right. There are a lot of people that are going through some really challenging times. So I think doing something fun, like getting the class involved, or getting, fellow coworkers, the impact is so much greater. And even just by like a small amount, that's awesome. Thank you for highlighting that.
Of course, yeah, every little bit helps.
And I'm very grateful to be doing what I'm doing. And I'm the only person really that's running the breast cancer fundraiser. And I think that's important to highlight too, because there's a lot of foundations out there, and you never really know where your money's going. I for many years contributed to a specific breast cancer foundation, and I'd always question, like, how much of the money did I raise is going to a patient or to research. And we have very minimal expenses. We're a very grassroots, foundation. And I think that's a really good thing for people to know, that like their money is going straight back to the patients. And that's, to me, that's everything. And my goal is to keep it that way for as long as I can. So I'm going to be hustling away.
Absolutely so true. And Charlotte, you're one of the most amazing people I've ever met. So knowing that you're running that whole thing and that whole charity, I know that it's all being, every single dime is being put where it needs to be put. I know that without question.
Oh, thank you.
I know you had mentioned that a lot of people are getting diagnosed a lot earlier than 40, and that people aren't really uh, checking as much as they should on their breasts. And I'd also love to talk about the fact that men can also get breast cancer, because I think that's something not a lot of people talk about.
I think first and foremost, we just need to talk about it more. You are right. There are a lot more younger women getting diagnosed, and I think the one thing we have to remember is to not only be our own health advocates, but also not look at doing a self breast exam as like a chore. I think it's more of an act of self love. Um, Speaking to women specifically, we monitor our menstrual cycles. We're educated growing up to keep a track on these things, but we're not really told to do a self breast exam or to keep an eye on yourself. And more and more women are getting diagnosed in their 20s and their 30s. So a couple things that I would recommend is knowledge is everything. So, you know, first things first, like ask questions, ask your mother or your grandmother, your aunts, and find out if there's a family history of it. Secondly, there's resources available for you to get the BRCA testing done, which is for ovarian and breast cancer. Some people might not be familiar with that. This was a little bit more common. That's something that Angelina Jolie had. So she tested positive for the gene, and she elected to do a double mastectomy. So there's other ways just to research to see if you carry the gene. Obviously, if you do carry the gene, long-term wise, there's many more chances that you might develop breast cancer, later on. But yeah, I think just asking questions and having knowledge. And then the same with men. And it's really, really sad, because I think the conversation has just never been had with men. I think, we just associate this as like breast cancer women. And the truth of the matter is men also get diagnosed with breast cancer. The general message is just know your bodies, know what it looks like, and be familiar with it. And don't be naive if you notice something that's not right or different. That's really the main reason why I'm here today. And I found my breast cancer very early, is because I knew something wasn't right. It wasn't common. The dimple was a huge sign, but then also the lump, like there was just a lot of telling signs. And I had an appointment within a week. And because I made that appointment so quickly, that is the reason why it didn't spread to my lymph nodes. Because when breast cancer spreads to your lymph nodes is when it can go metastatic. And at that point, that means that the cancer spread throughout your entire body, and your outcomes can be very different. So just knowing your body, knowing if there's changes. For women, you typically want to do your self breast exam 2 weeks after your menstrual cycle. That is the time of month that they recommend it. And there's a really great app. It's called, they're called Keep a Breast Foundation. And they have an app, and you can go on there and it shows you how to do it. You can track if there's anything different. It shows you the symptoms. And then you can just kind of make a calendar reminder every month. So it's very helpful. But I think it's important to know that you're not looking for cancer. You just need to know your body and check it every month. Just, we're always looking in the mirror. We're always kind of paying attention to our hair or makeup, or for guys, we're in shape. And if there's something that's not right, like don't be afraid to go to the doctor and be like, hey, something's not right, and do it quickly. I had a lot of doctors tell me that in the initial stages, they were trying to schedule me for appointments like 5 weeks out. And I'm like, whoa, I have a lump and I have breast cancer, and you're trying to schedule me 5 weeks away. I was like, that's not going to happen. That's 5 weeks of growth that my cancer is having in my body. And I put my foot down and it's not going to work for me. I am the daughter of a survivor, and I also have breast cancer. This is a new diagnosis. You need to get me in sooner. And sure enough, they called me back and I got in within a week.
Yeah, I think that's
So,
a great message. You have to advocate for your own health because nobody is going to do it for you.
yeah,
The other thing too is I think it's so important what you're saying, and I just want to drive it home more for everybody watching. That yes, you know your own body, and when someone tells you, "Oh, you're too young, that won't be an issue for you," that's just not accurate information. Children get Very young children get cancer. You can have health problems at very young age when you're supposedly healthy and all of these things. So listen to your body, check your body, know your body. Don't be afraid to touch your body, get to
yeah,
know your body so that when something doesn't feel right, you can say, that's not right. Something's wrong. And don't let anyone tell you, oh no, you're being dramatic. You're just worrying for no reason. You're
yeah.
fine. You're fine. I'm sure it's just a cyst or it's nothing. All boobs are
So,
lumpy, that kind of thing. I think it's just really important to listen to your heart and your instincts when you know
yeah.
something is wrong, and go get that help you need, and don't let people make a scheduling 5 weeks out.
No,
That is
absolutely not.
so horrifying because you're
Yeah,
absolutely right. Early detection is everything. That's why we're talking so much about self checking and all that every single month, because the earlier you can detect something wrong, the better chance you're going to have of surviving it and being on the other side and being able to help other people with
yeah.
their, and we need all of you. So please.
Yes, it's so true. I even after my diagnosis, I had girlfriends that had to fight to get a mammogram done, and they're over 40, and it's very difficult with insurance companies. Sometimes they're like, you're too young, and they will say that, and you really have to just put your foot down. They did pass a law in California where if you have dense breasts, you're actually able to get a breast mammogram before 40, and it's covered.
Can you explain what dense breast is?
Yeah, so a dense breast, it's going to be women that have softer tissue and kind of like feeling like lumpier. So you might think, gosh, there's something wrong, but it's more like dense soft tissue and then a little bit more like lumpier. And sometimes a lot of women have like cysts, very common. So it's important to monitor those first and foremost. And I stress this because a dear friend of mine, she went to the doctor. She had what she was told was a cyst. They didn't perform a mammogram on her, and they said, we'll keep you on the watch and wait list. So they kept her on the watch and wait list, and 3 months later, she was stage 3 breast cancer. So something that I would advise is, take an extra step.
Absolutely. And I kind of want to bounce off that a little bit. I know that it was already hard for, sometimes it can be really hard for people to want to go into the doctor and do these things.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if you have any advice for people who are afraid to kind of go in because of COVID and everything. I'm wondering how that's affecting just everyone's health, because even people who have other kinds of issues, I feel like people just aren't as inclined to go in to the doctor because of COVID.
Obviously, we've been experiencing some incredibly unsettling times, and it's scary for a lot of people to go out in general. But I will say this, leaving your health, you could do greater damage by not making an appointment. Now, again, times are different. So your first appointment would be right now would be scheduling like a digital appointment with your doctor. That would be the first appointment that you'll likely make, which you may be more comfortable with because you're going to be in your own home. You can certainly ask questions and discuss about perhaps what you may feel or what you've noticed is different. But I think it's important to highlight that, you know, leaving something could be greater than taking that one step.
Mhm.
You know, taking that one step. I just encourage you, just be strong and know that, you know, you can take precautionary steps to be safe in public. You can wear a mask, you can wear gloves, or you can bring hand sanitizer and make sure that you're washing your hands really very regularly for at least 30 seconds. You know, you're really taking the time to take care of yourself.
Yeah, I think you can't let the fear of something stop you from advocating for your own health. I think there is an
Yeah.
urgency now. I just think don't use COVID as an excuse to not take care of yourself and your health, because
Uh,
I know that sometimes people will find any excuse they can to kind of not go into the doctor if they, especially when they fear something is wrong. It's very counterintuitive because you want to go
right.
in, you feel something's wrong, you want to go get the help you need, but it can be
Yeah.
very common for people who actually fear that they have something wrong with them. They're less inclined to go into the doctor because they don't want uh, that news. And I think you just have to know that having the knowledge, like you spoke about before, is gonna in the end is gonna be the best thing for you. Facing those
Mhm.
fears, you can get through anything. And for everyone watching, I mean, look at Charlotte over here. You would never know, she's so strong and beautiful, and you would never know her hard battles that she's fought. She's a warrior
Yeah.
here, and I think she's a great example of staying strong and getting through something.
I will say this. My cancer developed, it's in your body for years before. When you feel the lump is when it's kind of protruding the skin and it's become invasive. That's when you've got to be really quick about it. But my cancer grew for years, and when I look back to when my doctor said that it had started kind of developing, like the time frame, um, I did not manage my stress levels. I certainly I was very up and down with a lot of stress. I didn't manage it. I was not exercising. Very rarely did I get a good sweat on. And my diet. So there's a lot of things that I look back and I'm like, could they have been contributing factors to perhaps something that might have caused? Because, inflammation, that's kind of where cancer starts developing. It's from inflammation in your body and it's the cells reacting to it. And my tips to really living like a healthy life and hopefully preventing you from anything like this happening is, you know, be vocal if you're feeling down and talk to your friends and family. If you're low and if you're going through something, like try your hardest to not internalize it, because that will cause inflammation, that will cause your body to react in really bad ways. So release a lot of that from you as best as you can. Exercise. Now, whatever makes you go red in the face, do it. Because that's good. When you get those blood cells going and you're exercising, like I started doing the trampoline for 20 minutes and I'm like, whew, this is the best because I don't have to go running for 45 minutes. If you can get into a workout where you're getting so red and you're getting those blood cells and the blood moving through your body, that's all you need to do. So somehow stay fit. It's going to help you keep your body strong, your immune system strong, especially right now with COVID. And then also just monitor your diet. Make sure you're eating. I mean, I cheat. I cheat a lot, but I also try and have some vegetables. And I also monitor, my alcohol intake. It's like it's a good balance, just try and live like a balanced life. And those are my tips, because I think it's important to just kind of think about those things and not just kind of be lazy about it, really.
Yeah, I love those tips. I think it's really important for people to find those things that will work for them to de-stress them,
Yeah.
and what works for one person might not work for another. Maybe you need to take a hot bath to distress, or maybe you need to go on like
Yeah.
a long hike, or maybe you need to be in nature, or whatever that is that's going to really kind of calm you down and bring you back to center, because stress is really bad for your health, extremely, extremely toxic to your
Yeah.
body. We have very physiological reactions to stress. So yeah, I think self-care, it comes back to self-care, and
Yeah.
I love all of those tips. What do you do for self-care the most, would you say? I know you kind of generally gave a lot of tips, but what is the thing that you do that when Charlotte is super stressed out and she's had a really bad day or just a hard week, what are the things that you kind of do to bring yourself back?
I will start early in the morning, and I'll tell you, my favorite thing to do is watch the sunrise. I
Mm.
have been going and watching the sunrise, and I meditate and I do my gratitudes first thing in the morning. I wake up, I watch the sun coming up, and I literally I speak 3 gratitudes that I'm grateful for every day, and that brings me a lot of joy. Now, let's go through the day. If I'm having a really long day, I love taking a bath. At the end of the day, I put some eucalyptus, soap in the bath. That really relaxes me. And then also just having like, you know, a great walk around sunset, just going for a walk. And especially right now, as like the seasons are changing, there's just a really amazing like smell and energy in the air. So like I'll usually go for like an evening walk, and just able to like reflect and just be grateful for where we live, and the people that we have in our life. Like, just gives you that time to kind of like process everything from the day and have that time to yourself.
If you have anybody that you want to nominate to be on the podcast, I would love to do another one with you,
Yes.
where it could be you and the person you want to nominate, and we could do this again, because I think you have so much knowledge. And I think it's also really important, and it doesn't even have to necessarily be anyone who's involved with breast cancer awareness, but I do think that it is something that we want to always highlight in October, because it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. However, this is something that really we need to be talking about the entire year. We need to be having these conversations. We need to be reminding our
Yep.
loved ones to be checking on themselves. And I think the best thing we can
Mhm.
do is really just keep the conversation going and keep talking about all the great things the
Yes.
BCF is doing, all the great opportunities people can get involved. Because I know people really, they like to donate around the holidays. And then I know the beginning of the year can start to get rough for people because nobody really is kind of showing up in those ways. So I'd really love to, if you think of anyone that you would love to bring on the
I
podcast.
know of someone. I
Yeah,
already have a name, and
perfect.
she inspires me. When I'm having a down day, I think of this woman, and I think of like just the sheer resilience and strength that she has. And she's unlike anyone I've ever met. Her name is Natalie Grummet. She not only is a breast cancer survivor, she's a Route 91 survivor from the shooting in Las Vegas, from the concert. I have chills just
I got
talking
them
about her.
too. I got them too.
She is the epitome of like a warrior. Like, she embodies strength and love and compassion and empathy. Like, she's a goddess in my mind. This woman has been through so much hardship, yet she's just the sweetest soul. And her story, I mean, it impacts people that like they wouldn't expect. They're taken back just from the thoughts of what she's been through, and what she's survived. And it's been 2 years since the shooting, and she's still going through surgeries and kind of getting back. But I would love to nominate her
Yeah.
because she inspires me every single day. So
I know we could all use some inspiration in our lives,
yeah,
and would love to highlight her story and her strength and her resilience and inspire other people through her and you, because you're also a warrior and a goddess. So
yeah.
I would love to have you both back on and maybe
Oh,
touch with her and talk to her and see if she'd be interested, and we can do another one of
yeah,
these, and it'll be both of you on, and I'll let you guys talk to each other and then kind of pop in a little bit. But yeah, I think it would be
perfect.
really great to have that. I would love it.
Really wonderful about sharing her story and inspiring men and women to just be grateful for what they have. So
Love
that's a,
it.
that's going to be a good one.
I love it. Look, everyone watching, you have something even more great to look forward to.
Yes, stay tuned. Stay
Yeah,
tuned. The next one. You might need your tissues because
yes,
I get chills, and every time I listen to her talk, I start welling up. So in a good way, like I'm just filled with love.
yes. And we all, I think we could all use that right now. Charlotte, thank you so much for joining our Crafting Wellness podcast. It's been such a pleasure having you on, and we look forward to doing a continued version in the near future.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, and I hope that there is a message of love and hope and self advocacy that you all can take away from this. Never forget to love yourselves and be your own health advocates, and do your best to get involved in whatever you can. Give back in some way.
Yes, and for everyone watching, we are linking all of Charlotte's information, all the BCF, their website, Facebook, and all of that, so you can check it out. Please share it with your friends and get involved, and let's shine some light and some love to help all of those people going through the fight of their lives.